Hello, ladies and gents, it's Hagbard Celine here on another beautiful afternoon, and I'll warn you now, this one is likely neither to be fun nor funny, because we're discussing the Chicago kidnapping, or I guess the Chicago Four, as some places are referring to them. And I'll be discussing it from several different angles, one of which is the aspect that the person involved in this was special needs. That in itself hit me a little deeper perhaps than it should have, as I've spent large portions of my life involved in that community via my mother's work. Knowing that that is the case and them having taken advantage of someone who thought he was their friend, it's the ultimate form of a type of abuse and bullying that I have very little patience for, if any at all. When you laugh at a mentally handicapped person for being mentally handicapped and you're laughing at them and promoting that they continue to make fools of themselves, that's bad enough. These people took it to an entirely different level. Now, I'm going to place that aside because I've found otherwise I can't function. So, ignoring that aspect and bringing it entirely back to political and racial tensions that have occurred in this country, it has grown in scale and at a rate which I don't think has been experienced since the early to mid 1960s. And now I think this country is ripe for a very, very bad time. And I would like people to recognize that and attempt to decrease the tensions. And it's not even the crime itself that has upset so many people. It's the response that has been given from the media, from the public, from large figures, from the prosecutor in the case, who started with the position, these boys just were playing and it got out of hand. I've done a lot of dumb things as a kid, and I don't recall ever having kidnapped and tortured someone for 48 hours. That's a new one for me. But getting to that, this is where it comes down to the crux of things, and I'm going to share an anecdotal story about, well, frankly, a similar situation I'm aware of vaguely in a criminal underground conversational way. Insofar as I have no evidence, and even if I had wanted to at the time, couldn't have gone to the police because, well, this was just criminal shit-talking. And the first thing you learn when you're talking to other criminals is most of them are liars. And criminals tend to inflate their own egos by telling fishing tales, as they say. That being said, the story that I heard that wasn't all too dissimilar to this, indeed did not involve black people at all. These were all white gangsters. This was a house that was colloquially, I guess you'd call it trap house, that was run entirely by white people. And once upon a time, a gentleman stole money from them, was tied down to a chair, was put into a dress, his feet were tied together, they put lipstick on him, they smacked him around a bit, and they made him hop home. Now that's bad, right? But the motivation is different. The motivation is revenge. The motivation is, frankly, it's street justice. This was not that. Now, I grew up in a culture not dissimilar from that we hear from Chicago and other not-so-great places. I had access to that kind of culture when I was in Florida. And I'll tell you, there's a divide that exists amongst the criminal ranks, and it is, sadly, among a racial divide. This is by no means exclusive to the black-white dichotomy racial divide. This, of course, stratifies along all of the racial divides and all the way down to ethnic divides, as in Puerto Ricans, Asian gang culture, and even within ethnicities you have things like conflicts within different branches of L'Eme. And the Zopound, which is, in theory, nothing but a Haitian pride movement. White criminals and black criminals do things differently. It's not to say that they aren't even an equal number, or greater number, as most of my business transactions were indeed with white criminals. But that's because you learn better. That's because you know that the black criminals are here to rip you off, or hurt you. 95% of the time, that's how the business is done. These are the kind of people that, when they're in the jail cell, begin to describe how they used to go around their local neighborhood, house to house, and collect 20% of everyone's income at gunpoint. These are racketeers and extorters. These are murderers. And that lifestyle, that nihilism is being promoted as being somehow a form of culture. And we hear a lot about this whole white people don't have a culture. Well, from what I've seen, if this is what represents your culture, it's disgusting. And it's sad. And it's backwards. And I would really like you guys to recognize that the problem is within the community, not from without it. The problem is not the police enforcing the laws. The problem is you rampantly breaking the laws and thinking that you should not be held accountable for it because you so frequently get away with it because you live in insular inner city neighborhoods. It's disgusting that you think that this is acceptable, and you're terrorizing the other people in your communities because you are monsters. They are afraid of you. Other black people are afraid of you because you are fucking monsters. And I speak from personal experience. I met plenty of monsters. Like I said, guys, this wasn't going to be fun. And this is as not harsh as I could be. So, thanks for listening. And as usual, apparently especially in Chicago, stay safe, good luck, and goodbye.